Hello guys, today we are going to be installing a hitch on this car back here. I'll show you a little bit better in a minute, but it is a 2015 Volvo S60, the one with a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine with start-stop, and going to be going on vacation soon, and decided I want one of those racks that you can mount to the back of the car that sticks out. It's like 60 inches wide by 24 inches deep, and it has a 6-inch lip on it, so you can put bins and things in it to, take some of the stuff that would be inside the car or in your trunk and move it outside. Plus, eventually I'll put wiring in here also, and I can tow my boat with it in my utility trailer. So that's a bonus. My daughter took my car that I used to use to do that, so we got to get this one ready for that kind of stuff. So let me show you what we got going, and we'll get started. All right, this is the box that came in. If you notice, that is quite a bit smaller than the box. They put that thing in the box here. Didn't put any packing materials. This is the top or the lid, I can't remember which. I think that's the lid that I cut off, which was pretty thick. The box is really thick, so my only concern, and you can see a spot on it right there, was that would poke out the side of the box from rattling around in there, but it didn't. It made it just fine. This is a hitch. Comes with a couple of covers over the bar to protect the paint. And this part is wrapped probably to protect it from stuff. And there is some hardware on this car here. There are a couple of spacers that we're going to need and some new bolts, and those are included with this kit. So let's take this stuff off and lay it out, and we'll take a look and see what we got. All right, there it is in all its glory. This will mount sitting like this. Oh yeah, so it stands up. All right, there we go, like that, to underneath this. So I have to pull off the rear fascia, and there's a bumper bar under there that has to come off as well, and the hitch gets sandwiched between there's the bumper bar is hollow inside, and the hitch goes up inside that recess. There are a couple of spacers that we'll have to space it out properly. I believe those spacers go here, those right there, and those spacers go on the bottom down there. Comes with new bolts and washers for attaching the bumper and everything back on. And I didn't think it came with instructions. You can get them on Curt's website and print them out, but it does come with them. I'll be dang. This is Curt part number 13266, by the way, for Volvo, and it fits the S60, V60, V70, and XC70. I believe that's all of them. Yep, that's all that was there. And where this part is down here on the bottom of the fascia there is going to have to be a notch cut in that, so you are going to have to modify that just a hair. So to get started, to pull this fascia off, come around here. There are these 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts inside the tire well. I've got to get these out, and then I can start just pulling the fascia, and it should just kind of pull completely off. These are the only things that hold the whole thing in, as far as I can tell. And when you get it off, there may be some clips or something on the back here, and you've got to disconnect some wires and things. But let's get this stuff moved out of the way so it's safe, and we'll get started and remove these over here. Alrighty, these suckers in here are T20 Torx, and there is plenty of room to get a 3/8 ratchet in here with a Torx head. They're very easy to loosen up. Looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I already loosened that one down there up. And you just kind of have to take your time and get those out. Let's get one of these out and see if it's this is metal or plastic or what. I don't even know. This is a metal. Yeah, that's metal, all right. So we just got to remove those on each side. So let me get that done on both sides, and then we'll move on to the next step. Alrighty, not sure how good you guys are going to see this, but this part comes off really easy. This wiggles really easy. It's this part up here that you got to kind of pull on a little bit. So let me set you up and let you see, if you can see how I do that. Alright, let me see if you're angled up enough there. And I think you are. So all you got to do, this clips in here. So really, you just gotta see it starting to separate there. Just pull, and you continue on around the whole way like that, and the whole thing will start to come loose. So I'm going to set you up out here. All right, I'm going to see if you guys can see this process. I have never done this either, so I'm not an expert. I'm just following what the directions said to continue popping this loose. There we go. Okay. This is a bit scary, I tell you what, but this is just plastic. Alright, so see what's holding it down below. Oh, see, I missed this. There are some Torx screws down below here. There are 4, 2 right here and 2 right here where these sensors are. I've got to remove those. So let me get those taken off. All right. See how much you guys can actually see of this. I apologize for the wiggling. Got those off, so let's see if we can get this started off. And we don't want it to come off all the way. There's probably going to be some wiring that we have to unplug. And there is, it's all over on this side over here. And let me get you to show you. There is one plug right there that we got to undo, and all the stuff routes through there. So let me get that unplugged, and we will be right back. All right, there it is. I got this sitting over my garbage can, and now might be a good time to clean up under the underside here, because you never get to this. So why not take the opportunity while it's off and clean it up? If there's anything inside here that needs cleaning up, we might need that too. All right, so this has to come off. The bumper bar itself, there's 2 13s there, and there's going to be one down there on each side, and we got to remove that. So let me get my 13mm and an extension, and we'll get that off. Alrighty, so these are torqued on pretty good. This one I broke loose. It is 13 millimeter. It's not super tight, but you know, it's tight. I don't know if you guys can see me or not. Hope you can. Seems like the one on the bottom is the one that's got the most dirt on it. So it's the hardest to break loose. So I'm going to remove these. I'm going to remove the two on the bottom and then one of each of these, and then I'll just get leave the two and then just remove one at a time. I'll have to hold up one side, and there's the bolt. A little corrosion, that's probably why it wanted to come out so hard, but once you get it started, it's not bad. So I'm going to finish that up and I'll come right back to you guys. Alright, we are in the part where I'm using my legs, because it's real easy to hold up with your leg. Remove that one. This one's already loose and almost out. So remove this carefully in case there's any wires or anything attached behind, and there are not. So there we go. Now, since there is dirt there, I am going to clean these surfaces up really good, which doesn't take much. It's just, since this is still pretty new, it's just a wipe down. But basically, what you're going to do is you set your hitch down inside here and then put your plates. You can actually stand that up. Set this on, you know, put your bolts through, at least one on each side, and then set this onto the hitch with the bolts, and then your spacers onto the bolts, and then you just lift it up and put them in position. So the way these are going to go, though, is because this right here has a standout, you've got to get beyond that. So basically, that's what you use to do it. That goes there, and the silver one in the bag goes down here. So that's really all there is to it. Alright, let's see if I can get you guys set up to see what we're doing. I got the hitch standing by itself. It will support itself quite nicely on this, and it's really does really well. So we got our new bolts. We need our washers, and I want to take a couple of these, set them like that. And actually, I got that wrong. Let's take those back off. This is why you test fit things. There we go. May have to use your legs here and verify with the instructions. The instructions will have pictures of how this is supposed to go, and it basically tells you that in the instructions here you've got the bumper beam, you've got the hitch, and then you have your spacers. So it would be easier if I do this, since I got to get the spacers. You know, this could I'm thinking it'd be a lot easier with 2 people. Or a little bit of duct tape to hold this in place. Basically, there we go. I have a spacer there. And I have a spacer there. And I know I don't have anything in the bottom. But we can go ahead and do that, I suppose, and see if it stays in there or not. I'm not sure if it will. Let's find out. The least that could happen is it could fall apart. And I may actually, now that I think about it, the duct tape idea may have been a pretty good one since I'm working by myself here. Alright. I have all of this here. These bolts are bigger than what I had before. Let's see if I can lift. No. I'm going to have to do some creative taping here to hold this stuff in place while I and lift one side in at a time, because I'm working by myself here, so I've got to get creative. So let me do that and we'll come right back to you guys. Alright, in test fitting this up here, I've just got it sitting on some wood. I have found something that we've got to modify first. If you look right here, you see this is hitting the shield for the exhaust. So I'm going to take a marker and mark on this side right here and cut a little section, just a line right there, so I can just fold that in a little bit. As that is in the way just a bit. So let me get something to do that with and we'll come back. All right, believe it or not, we got them all started. My wood pieces worked beautifully here. Get those out of the way. That looks like it is nice down there, plenty of room. And these get torqued down to 45 foot-pounds. So I'm going to set you back here for a second. Got my torque wrench. Actually, you know, before I start with the torque wrench, let's just use this and get them all snugged down first. Those spacers are needed to keep it from hitting this lip all the way around, and they work beautifully. They leave maybe a millimeter or so of clearance. Beautiful. Let's get them torqued down then. This should be set to 45. That's what it looks like. So there we go. I'm going to finish that all the other side too, and I'll come right back. All right, bumper is mounted. Hitch is on. Everything is torqued down to spec. I wiped down the bumper bar a little bit. I wiped down the bottom section of this a little bit. Get up in here in the corners. There's a lot of dirt that'll collect. You see some of it, you know, right there. A lot on the floor, ground right there. All that fell out of the inside of those pockets, so take the opportunity to knock some of that loose. It'll make it easier for you to put this back in place. So what I got to do now is test fit this so that I can find out exactly where I'm going to have to cut here. And I think this is going to be the center. I think I've got to go about an inch, and I'll give it a little bit of extra, about 1.25 inches out on either side of this, but I don't know how far up this way I've got to go. I know I've got to cut this off though, so I don't know if I can use the metal shears that I used or not. You know, we can use a rotary cut-off wheel, a Dremel tool, a hacksaw, whatever we have to cut this off. But first I want to set it up there and just, you know, kind of set it in place so that it's even side to side, and mark this and get an idea of how much of this I've got to cut out. Alrighty, figured I'd bring you guys up under here with me, see if you can see what I'm seeing. I don't know about lighting conditions or anything, but right here you've got the hitch, and there's the fascia that comes down right there. I don't know if I'm going to have to cut much more than this, because if you look at these screws, I mean, I've only got 1/2 inch to go before the screws will fit into place. The other one is right down here, and that doesn't need much space, so I'm not going to have to cut much out there, I don't think. So let's get to it. All right, so here's the piece that I cut off. If you remember, this angled down that way, or actually I think it was like this, and I cut off this little section, and then just past the rounded edge, and I could have gone up another 1/8 inch if I wanted to, but this fits as it is perfectly flush against the bar that's angling down like this against there, and it looks like a factory job. It fits so nicely. So now I'm going to take this off. I've got my connector back over here I've got to plug back in, and I'm going to slide this into place. I'm going to put my 4 Torx back here, and then I'm going to work my way around, snapping everything into position so that I can end up over on the sides to put the 5 Torx bolts back in on the side, and then we're done. Actually, so far this has not been difficult at all. I thought it was going to be a lot harder, so I'm very pleased that it hasn't been. Alrighty guys, there we have it. Everything is put back on. When you put this on, if you start in the corner there, pushing this in, and then kind of work your way up along the line, and then pull this way, this will slot in better, and then everything lines up. It actually was pretty darn easy to put back into place. I can't believe how easy this was. I thought this would be a lot harder. It was not bad at all. That is a big hitch. It is a class 3 hitch. The hitch is good for 3,500 pounds, and I think it's 350 pounds of tongue weight. I'm never going to put that much on it. Most I probably would tow is maybe a couple thousand pounds max. I do believe, I'll have to double check, but I think that's for a 5/8 pin. That's it. It was pretty darn easy to get on. Everything goes back on just fine. I needed a 17 millimeter to put the new bolts in, 13 millimeter to take them out, a T20 Torx for the other fittings, and other than the heat shield for the muffler, that you could have cut with a good pair of scissors. I used metal snips, but I could have used some kitchen scissors. And to cut the piece of plastic out of the fascia, the bumper fascia there, that little piece that got in the way of the receiver bar, I used metal snips to cut the slots like this, and then to go across, I just used a razor blade, a nice sharp razor blade on a good box cutter. So a box cutter would have done the whole job, really. That's it. I mean, minimal tools needed, and it looks great. I have started the car up and made sure all my sensors and everything work too. So now it's just a matter of, it's really dirty, so I think I'm going to pull it out into the driveway and give it a bath. And that's all there is, I guess, to installing a Curt hitch on a Volvo S60, the like the P3 Volvos. Very happy. Can't say that it's... I thought it was going to be a lot more difficult, like I keep saying, but this was really a pretty darn easy install. And I was by myself. There are spots where I really could have used two people, but I found a way. I made do. You would have a much easier time doing this with two people, so if you can afford to do that, do it. Even if you got one of the kids to help you hold things and pick it up and put it into place to get the bolt started or something, that'd be fine. Beyond that, it was pretty easy, so I have, my helper was duct tape and some wooden blocks. That's it, guys. Hope you got something out of it. I got a new hitch, so I'm pretty happy.